Hi, my name's Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are breaking down episode 7 of Netflix's Shadow and Bone. This episode is titled The Unsea, which is another name for the Shadow Fold. If it's your first time here, make sure to subscribe and like this video and check out all my other Shadow and Bone content. So this is actually Leigh Bardugo's favorite episode, and I love the opening with the cards. It's pretty easy to see why this would be Leigh's favorite episode. She said that the idea for this series came to her when she thought, what if darkness was a place and we actually get to see the origin of the Shadowfold being created. We see the Darklings past hundreds of years ago in Ravka when Grisha were being hunted. He and his girlfriend at the time, Luda, were leaving to go to a sanctuary for Grisha since at the time Grisha were so hated when they are come upon by soldiers. They try to kill Alexander, but Luda, being a healer, is healing him from inside their house, and I thought this was really cool. Unfortunately, they figure out she's inside, they murder her, and Kirigan absolutely loses it. Breaks through his bonds, summons the cut, and kills all of the soldiers. He goes to the sanctuary where he talks to his mom, Bagra. She blames him for the king hating all Grisha, tells him to flee and not come back until the king is dead and to return with a new name. Basically doing exactly what he ends up doing in the future. But Alexander, wanting to protect all the Grisha, wants to make a Grisha army. He wants to use Murzos, the unstable magic, just like his ancestor Morozova did. He finds Morozova's journals and thus the instructions to use Murzos. The soldiers find the Grisha hideout, and using Murzos, which he can't really control, he tries to get them to submit to him, but instead he creates the Shadowfold and turns all those soldiers into the uncontrollable creatures now known as Volcra. He carries Bagra away and she's like, wow, my son is a freaking idiot. He's like, Mom, I made a whole Shadowfold. You should be so proud of me. Inej is hurt and has to stitch her wound back together, which Kaz absolutely cannot watch. He says it's time to cut their losses and head back to Ketterdam. Inej says to Jesper that she refuses to go back to the menagerie, and not just the menagerie, but she can't go back to Ketterdam and risk ending up back at the menagerie. Jesper tells her this great line, which I love him for.
I don't have the right to tell you what you should do with your shot at freedom.
Alina and Mal do find the stag. She decides not to kill it, wanting to find another way to use its power as an amplifier. But the Darkling and company come upon them and shoot the stag. Mal is also shot, and Alina throws her power at everybody. The Darkling shows up ready to kill the stag, and Alina shields them. He says to choose either Mal or the stag. She chooses to save Mal, and the Darkling murders the stag with a quickness. Kaz notices Inej sneaking up on him and asks if she's saying goodbye. She asks if he has anything else to say to her, and he says, what else is there? Which reminds me of that moment from the Swan Princess. He goes to leave and he says, you were right, she's real. She asks what he believes in, if not saints, and he says he believes in her, which, oh my gosh, so cute. But also Jesper and his crows. He says no saint has ever looked after him the way Inej has. So broody, I love it. She says, I can't go back, as in I can't go back to the menagerie, and he firmly states, you won't. David, who is so excellently portrayed, implants the antlers into Alina's neck, which is different from the books where she just wears it as a collar. This was really gross to me. I think it was a good addition. I just also think that it absolutely made my skin crawl. David is clearly uncomfortable with this, and another difference is this piece of the antler that goes into the Darkling's skin that bridges the gap between them and connects her power to him, so he controls her light. Genya comes to see Alina, and Alina quickly figures out that Genya is a spy for the Darkling and had been lying to her all along, never sending her letters to Mal. Genya reveals, without explicitly saying it, that she's been sexually assaulted repeatedly over the years by the king, and she wanted revenge. Alina tells her while that revenge is her right, she still has been used by the Darkling and she's still his pawn. Genya resents this and she leaves. The crows make plans to disguise themselves to get across the fold. Mal and the Darkling get into a little spat where Mal tells the Darkling he has no chance with Alina and that she's chosen Mal. The Darkling throws in Mal's face that he will grow old while Alina will basically be immortal and the Darkling will wait for her. I'm really hoping this isn't alluding to future seasons where they plan to have Mal be broody and kind of mean to Alina because he thinks that they don't have a chance together. I had enough of his shit in the books and I want them to keep the Mal they created in this season going. Milo saves the day. His bullet left to him by Jesper provides a way for Mal to escape. Alina and the Darkling argue about who he truly is versus who he's pretended to be. She says, you could have made me your equal, and he says, fine, make me your villain, just like in the books. This is like the iconic Darkling line, so seeing it come to life on screen was really cool. Alina, the Darkling and company, and ambassadors from the other countries all board the skiff to cross the fold. However, Mal has also snuck on board, as well as the crows in disguise. The crows finally say their catchphrase,
No mourners.
No funerals.
For them, this passes as good luck. Alina dons her gold and black kefta, and the Darkling chains her to the floor of the skiff. They enter the fold, and the credits roll. We got Zero, Nina, and Matthias this episode, which to me was a huge bummer. I feel like there was a lot more we could have seen of their story, even if it was just a short conversation that would have given us more background on the two of them and solidified their relationship more, but alas, it did not happen. Alina's time with the stag was also wildly short. It wasn't that long in the books, but I thought that we would get more. And I wonder if the audience who hasn't really read the books really understood amplifiers, because I feel like maybe the show didn't do the best job of explaining and portraying that. There are other amplifiers. There are other Grisha with amplifiers. For instance, Zoya has one in the books, and I sort of wish that had come into play in the show because it ends up being important in later books. I thought them portraying the Darkling on screen creating the fold was done very smartly. I really appreciated that addition, as we never actually experienced that in the books, so it's understandable why this is Lee's favorite episode. All right, let me know what your favorite part was down below. Leave your comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.